Ron Snouffer is in the roofing business for years. He is now a public adjuster fighting for the rights of property owners following storms. And public adjusting it's an interesting thing because you guys represent, instead of insurance companies, insurance adjusters, you represent the people who are taking claims out against insurance companies. Correct, Ron?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. We only work for property owners. We're a consumer advocate for them.
Most people didn't know you even exist. You think, okay, typically I have water damage or roof damage, whatever it might be, I have a claim. I then go to my insurance agent and I said, okay, am I covered? And they say, yeah, you're covered, or no, you're not covered. And then you work with the insurance adjuster. Well, typically, most of us don't have house claims, but I think if you go through life long enough, you're probably going to have a car insurance claim where the adjuster comes out, looks at your car, looks at the other car, they cut a check, you go and you get the thing fixed, and everybody walks away hopefully happy. That's not always the case. When should someone use a public adjuster?
So the best case scenario is when they feel like their representation from the insurance company is being not taken care of, that the insurance company is not treating them fairly. I always go back to one of my first cases. I had a tornado claim in Texas. The lady was getting $38,000 from her insurance company, and she was getting contractors coming in, telling her it was going to be $150,000, $180,000 to repair her house. She spent 3 months dealing with her insurance company, trying to get them to pay correctly, and had no idea that there was even an option for a public adjuster when one of her friends told her, well, you need to hire a public adjuster. And we were able to come in and get them fully compensated for everything that happened to her property.
It's not like these things go to arbitration either with insurance companies, correct? It typically, okay, we can't come to terms as it go to arbitration. What recourse do you have? Most people don't know you exist because you go, okay, well, I'm going to get shafted by my insurance company. And most people, other than maybe filing a civil claim against them, don't think they have recourse.
Well, filing a claim against them is part of the claim process, but it doesn't need to go that far. The majority of our stuff that we get involved in is just a matter of us going back to the insurance company and explaining based on what the policy coverage is, what they owe the property owner. And 9 times out of 10, it's just a matter of us getting together and going through the motions of what is covered in the policy and making sure that the customer is indemnified based on what they're paying for in their policy.
Now, we have public adjusters in Ohio. They're probably not well known, but we do have them. Typically, it would be in this case, the homeowner or the auto owner, whoever it might be, is responsible for paying you. It's almost like you're the intermediary. You are hired to do the bidding because you know the inner workings of insurance agencies, the lingo, and everything else. I'm just a layperson, but if you think you got a good claim, hire a public adjuster like yourself. Typically, what does something like that cost?
We're going to charge based on the insurance claim, so insurance proceeds. It depends on which state you're in. In Ohio, I believe 10% is what the standard fee is based off of new monies collected off of the claim. So if you have a $100,000 claim, it could cost somebody $10,000 to hire a public adjuster.
Okay, but that's money well spent if you can get more back that the insurance company's denying you. Ron Snouffer is a public adjuster hired by homeowners in this case, and we're seeing all sorts of catastrophic damage being done across the state of Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, because of the extremely wet and turbulent spring, which we've had so far. He's on the AcuteHearingCenters.com hotline talking about that. And also, I think the big thing, too, is consumer protection agencies are swamped right now. I do a segment with the BBB every week, and I'm sure that Sandy Guy will be talking about this, and they're getting slammed. Government agencies getting slammed with calls and complaints from shady operators. We just had, Ron, the tornadoes in Dayton a week ago, and causing extreme devastation up there. And the end result is you have people who have everything that they've worked their lives for, your home and the contents thereof scattered all over the place, and you're really vulnerable, and it's made worse by people. And I'm not talking about looters now. I'm talking about those who come and prey on those homeowners, simply take advantage of them. What do you look for in something? Because I would think that the insurance agency that you're working with would be on the lookout for these type of scams. Does the insurance agency or does your insurer protect you from fly-by-night operators, or is that something that's on you?
Unfortunately, they don't. I mean, there are just so many people out there that have damage. They don't have time to police everybody, every contractor. The biggest thing I can say is don't turn over your money to anybody until they've started work, until you've vetted them properly. You want to check out the BBB. You want to ask your neighbors, are they a local company? Ask for references. If they're a local company, they've been in business for a while, you'll have tons of references in the area that you're in. Watch for the fly-by-night. Look for where their license plate is from. If it's an out-of-state company, try and shy away from them. They're probably not there for a long period of time, and if you do have an issue down the road, even if it was a reputable company, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, and that's where it pays to hire someone who you hear. I mean, typically, if you hear advertising on the radio, like here at 700 WLW, you know the company's local, you know that they've been around and the like, that there's an air of legitimacy there. If it sounds too good to be true, of course, it's, hey, I'm going to do this for you. I just need, $500 for the supplies. We're in town. We're doing some jobs down the street. And you look at them and you go, okay, I don't know who you are. They may not have a business card. There may not be a sign on the truck. It may, just have a ladder on top of it, something like that. You don't want to be giving these people any money up front.
That's correct. If they're a legit business, they can afford to start the work before they get paid. They're not going to ask for money up front to go buy materials and so forth. If they're legit, they'll have a bank account and suppliers that will supply them with materials that they can get started before they have to ask for any money.
What about payments, though, and a payment schedule? What is fair? How much money do you put down as a down when they show up? They're going to want some money, but typically, how does that go? What do you recommend?
It's going to depend on the size of the job. I mean, if you have something as simple as a roof, that job can be done in a day or two. So if you drop materials, if you pay 50% for the materials up front, that's not that big a deal. But if you have a job where the house has been leveled or been hit by a tornado, you're going to have some kind of payment fee structure throughout the entire process because it's not going to be an overnight fix. It may take 3-4 months to repair that house back to its original condition. And paying 50% up front for something that they're going to be working on for 4 months is not realistic.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Exactly. You don't want to pay all that up front, and you do scheduled payments and the like as well. And hopefully, you're doing that. There's an address, a PO box, something like that, where there's a hard physical address. Maybe not. I think a PO box would probably also be a warning too, as well, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, I would agree. You want somebody who has a brick and mortar box retail operation that you can go to and actually see that they have employees that are working. If you're dealing with a P.O. box, who knows how long that company's been in business and where they're going to be at in 6 months.
Yeah, you look at a third of the deposit up front, and some people say, well, if you pay me cash and pay me up front, then, we don't have to involve the insurance company, and they're not going to take a check. They don't want especially credit cards. You take credit. No, we don't take credit cards. We need to keep our costs low. It's just usually somebody that's scamming you. So you may want to be certainly saving as much money as you can, but doesn't mean you can't shop around in these times. But typically, those are all sorts of red flags you want to avoid. I would imagine the same holds true when it comes to something that's going to affect a lot more people than roof and tornado damage, and that is going to be flooded basements. Right now, there's a lot of flooded basements around town, and a lot of companies coming in saying they're going to excavate and do all these things. I think one of the other elements, too, Ron Snouffer, is that because the companies are so overwhelmed, and something I know about because I do remodeling and things like that as a property owner, multiple property owner, and furthermore, just knowing the construction trades, too, as well, is that you'll often get the complaint that people won't show up to work. And that's not much a scam as it is companies are overwhelmed because we don't have enough people doing the work that we're talking about here. And that's when times are good. When you start to have natural disasters and flooding like we're having now, it's going to be compounded by that and trying to get something done in a reasonable timeline.
Oh, yeah, we have tremendous amount of shortage of labor across the country. And when these natural disasters happen, it just puts an additional burden on trying to get skilled and good labor out there who can help out in times of need. The construction market for new homes and commercial market has been going through the roof for probably the last 5 to 7 years. And if you're in construction and you don't have a job, there's a reason.
Yeah, there's no question. There's no question. Ron Snouffer is a public adjuster, which certainly I think that's for a lot of people who thought, well, I know about scams and what to look for. I wanted to remind you that too. But also, Ron is a public adjuster, meaning he fights for property owners following storms and battles things like insurance companies, which you may not think are out there. But if you're at odds with the insurance company and you're thinking, well, I got to listen to the claims adjuster from company X, whatever it might be, you don't. You in Ohio and elsewhere can get what's called a public adjuster. Hire them to represent you against the insurance company, and generally they'll work something out that's beneficial for both parties. Ron, thanks again for the time. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
You got it.